This is the AmWager Weekend Stakes Preview on the Horse Racing Radio Network.
They are coming to the top of the lane and obviously now tries to shake loose up front. Obviously the leader by 2, but Wise Dan now hooks off the rail in the gold cap. Obviously he's got to find more because Wise Dan's taken dead aim on him. Mr. Commons running a big one along the inside. Celebration getting involved late as well. Obviously, but Wise Dan now in full flight for the wire. And Wise Dan strikes the front, sticks his neck out. He wanted to win today, and win it he will. Wise Dan, super impressive Breeders' Cup Mile. Wise Dan won it. Animal Kingdom like a rocket will be in a photo with Celebration, and obviously for that second spot.
Now, here's Bobby Newman and Bob Nastanovich.
Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the AmWager Weekend Stakes Preview here on the Horse Racing Radio Network. I'm Bobby Newman along with Bob Nastanovich. We've got a dozen races to go over tonight, including, Bob, some tremendous stakes at both Churchill Downs and Woodbine.
Yeah, really loaded card at Churchill Downs. Nearly $2 million in prize money they're giving away, including, of course, the $1 million Stephen Foster, and then a pretty juicy card at Woodbine as well. I'd forgotten that Animal Kingdom finished second to Wise Dan in the Breeders' Cup Mile, so thanks for kicking the memory into high gear.
How about that? Folks, AmWager is giving away money. New customers get a $150 sign-up bonus plus an instant $10 bonus for HRRN listeners. Go to link.amwager.com/HRRN. You'll get $10 instantly for signing up, then deposit $150, bet $150, and get a $150 lump sum bonus. It's that easy. AmWager is a wagering platform that's loaded with valuable tools and features, including odds charts, odds predictions, and much more. You'll also get free access to Form to Win. It's a revolutionary app that analyzes past performance data in just minutes. So go to link.amwager.com/HRRN to sign up and get your bonuses. AmWager, built by horse players, for horse players. All right, Bob, well, let's start off with that mega card on closing weekend at Churchill Downs. Of course, tomorrow is Stephen Foster Day. They have 6 stakes in all, and the first one is named in honor of the horse that we heard at the top of the show, Wise Dan. Wise Dan, back-to-back winner of the Breeders' Cup Mile in 2012 and 2013, 6-time Eclipse Award winner, including Horse of the Year. Both of those years he was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 2020, and rightly so. There is a race named in his honor tomorrow at Churchill Downs. The Wise Dan goes as race number 7. It is a Grade 2 event with a $500,000 purse. 4-year-olds and up going a mile and a 16th on the turf. We've got a field of 6 in this edition of the Wise Dan, Bob. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, even though these are nice horses, none of them would have beaten Wise Dan if he was at his best and running against them. That being said, number 2, Ottoman Fleet, is coming off a nice win in the Grade 3 Arlington, and he's even money on the morning line.
First of all, if you haven't reviewed Wise Dan's career record in a while, it's definitely worth a look. Just mesmerizing, really an iron horse for this millennium. He won 23 of 31 starts, Bob, and over $7.5 million. And we're talking about a son of Wiseman's Ferry out of a Wolf Power mare who'd won one race. Owner-breeder Morty Fink, just an absolute dream horse and a real marvel, and a horse that certainly should not be forgotten. We can always use any horse that belongs in the conversation as Wise Dan. And, Ottoman Fleet probably.
And by the way, a Grade 1 winner on turf and dirt.
Yeah, no, he was just a marvel. And he was obviously probably some of his best exploits occurred right in Kentucky and at Churchill and Keeneland. He loved both turf courses and just a fantastic horse. And Charlie Lopresti trained him. I got to know Charlie when I was a jockey agent, and it was great to see him get a wonder horse really at the tail end of his pretty good training career. So just an awesome set of memories all around, whether you bet on him or not. He's one of those horses kind of like a modern-day John Henry. You mentioned that you never cashed a ticket on John Henry. I don't think I cashed too many on Wise Dan. And if I did, they would have been part of a multi-leg wager at a short price. But anyways, just a great horse. Ottoman Fleet definitely would have belonged in the gate with Wise Dan. You can say that about him. He was very impressive. June 1st over this racetrack under Flavian Pratt, who takes the mount back in the Arlington mile and a 16th race that he won just above even money by a length. He's a son of See the Stars out of a motivator mare. He was an expensive purchase. He's really kind of probably the best Godolphin horse in North America presently, or definitely one of the top 2 or 3. They've got a bunch that they kept around for North American racing. We've talked about that on previous AmWager Stakes preview shows. But, Ottoman Fleet, even money in the morning line here. Definitely bred for further. He got the job done over a mile and a 16th last time, unquestionably. I think this is a little bit of a tougher group. I think obviously he's going to be about 3 to 5 in here. Tip of the cap to a very admirable horse called Chasing the Crown, who's by skip shot out of a marquetry mare. Interestingly, makes him a full brother to Vasilika, another horse that's kind of forgotten. She won nearly $2 million in her career, mostly on the West Coast. She's a multiple Grade 1 stakes winner. So really good pedigree, and he's a great horse. I mean, he's 11 for 13 in the money. He's got 4 wins. He loves this turf course. The problem is he's a little bit light on stakes experience, but he did have a breakthrough race beaten a length by Ottoman Fleet, so conceivably you could see him turning the tables in here. I just can't. I've got to figure out another game plan other than just relying on Ottoman Fleet. And I'm going to give the nod here to Win for the Money. I think Win for the Money is a proper miler. He's the 5, 9-2. Jose Ortiz rides for Mark Cassie. Comes in off a mighty performance at Gulfstream, which he just cruised to a 6 3/4 length victory. Ran in the Arlington Million last year, got beat 4 3/4 by Set Piece at Colonial. Has never stepped foot on this turf course, but the way this race shapes up, he could be on or just off the lead. That might provide him with a big tactical advantage. And if he runs back to some of his better races, I think he can pull the upset at a price around 5 to 1. So I'm going to take the 5, Win for the Money.
Yeah, I'm on the same horse. I think he was a good horse as a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. I think he has a chance to be a really good horse as a 5-year-old. And that last race at Gulfstream Park, I know against Softer, was really, really good and really, really fast. And I think he's going to have a pace advantage as well. Bob and I both think Win for the Money will win the Wise Dan. Grade 2 Fleur De Lis goes as the 8th race tomorrow at Churchill. Fillies and Mares, $500,000 on the line, mile and an eighth on the main track, field of 6 in this race, Bob. And number 4, Scylla, is the morning line favorite.
Yeah, deep group. I can't, whenever Free Like a Girl's entered, I have to mention her in full admiration. Free Like a Girl will break from the rail. Corey Lannery rides for Chasey Pommier. Ran a great race last time, beaten 3 3/4, won second to Idiomatic at 12 to 1. She's just an incredible Louisiana-bred dynamo. 17 for 39 lifetime, 11 seconds, 1.6 million. You can expect her to run her race in here like she always does, just off the lead. She's broken from the rail in 3 of her last 4 starts. That causes her no problem at all. Just one of these kind of horses that you stand back and admire. A $5,500 yearling who's run out over 1.6 million. Just a great horse. Shotgun Hottie is in here. Shotgun Hottie, the 2, Paco Lopez comes in to ride. He's got a bunch of good mounts on this card for Cherie DeVoe, of course, who had Vava win last weekend. So her stable's very much in form. Shotgun Hottie's a real star. She's 6 for 19. She's on the verge of being a millionaire herself. Like I said, career best last time in the Allaire DuPont, May 17th at Pimlico. She won by 5 3/4. She'll have to beat tougher today. It really, to me, comes down to 2 stalwart forces in here, and that's the 4, Scylla, who kind of easily won the Shawnee last time, the Grade 3 Shawnee over this racetrack by 3 1/4. And really, if you rewatch that race, she kind of bulled her way to the front and then kind of drew off. So it was a pretty convincing effort. My only quandary is at the time, Phil Bauer's stable, and he's got some really nice stakes horses, we know that, and Kijira is one of the best ones. It seemed like all of his horses were not in their best form. I think that, as good as Kijira got last year, winning the Mother Goose handily, winning the Falls City over this racetrack, that she's just rounding into her best form. Her morning work shows that she's just sparkling right now. 5/8 and 58 and 2 on June 15th, a half mile and 47 flat. She did nothing wrong in the Shawnee. I just don't think she was razor sharp. I think she's razor sharp today. I can't believe that morning line of 9-2 is going to stand up. I'm going to take the 6 Kijira to upset Scylla and the rest of them in the Fleur De Lis.
Yeah, we're on the same one again, and I'm a big Scylla fan. I've always liked her. I thought she was going to be a stake runner as soon as I saw her break her maiden first time out, and she's had issues here and there, but obviously she now is a graded stakes winner. I'm wondering if Kijira or however it's pronounced, is better with a target. She looked like she didn't put up much fight at all when she made the lead last time out, but she's not a front-running type. I think she's better when she has somebody to run at, and the outside post I think will help her chances. Maybe one of the inner two runners goes Free Like a Girl or Shotgun Hottie, and Kijira stalks instead of leads, and maybe she's the one with the powerful turn of foot around the turn. Taking nothing away from Scylla, she's going to take some beating, but I think Kijira has much more in the tank than what she's shown her last two. And like you, Bob, I think she has a big chance to win the Grade 2 Fleur De Lis. 9th race at Churchill tomorrow, $250,000 American Derby for the 3-year-olds going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. Field of 8 gathering in this race. Slight favorite on the morning line is number 1, Green Light.
Yeah, a couple of quick notes about the Fleur De Lis before we leave it. The 4 Scylla is a full to batten down, so she's out of close hatches by Tapit. Of course, batten down pretty easily, won the Ohio Derby last week. And then I've heard 4 or 5 different pronunciations of Kijira as well. And so I did some research, and Kijira is named after the pied kingfisher of the Okavango Delta in Botswana. And I guess they say it Kijira, and Travis Stone is diligent with pronunciations. That seems to be the way he's saying it. So hopefully she'll get the job done for us. The American Derby, the 9th race on the card's tough, Bob. I mean, it's just a tough race to me. There's nobody that really stands out. I kind of had high hopes that Agate Road was going to be a pretty good horse. He's the 5 in here. Irad rides for Todd Pletcher. Pletcher reaches for the blinks because he's been so slow in the early part of his races. Pletcher's 21% when he puts blinks on for the first time. Kind of interesting to me that Frankie Dettori rides First World War back. Won on the horse in the Penn Mile, overcame trouble in the race, rides the horse for Brendan Walsh. Dettori shows up here for some pretty live mounts at Churchill on this big money card, which is his way. Brilliant Birdie, the 8 horse, Brian Hernandez rides for Cherie DeVoe again. He is in sparkling form. This definitely looks like the right time for this one to step up in the stakes company for sure. But I'm going to give a chance to Green Light from the rail. I think Green Light for Jose Ortiz and Rudy Brissett, who's in good form now, I think they might make a fairly easy lead in here. It seems like nobody wants to lead. I think if Green Light breaks sharp, he's got a chance to steal it on the front end, and he really couldn't be in any better form. He ran a great race, breaking his maiden by 10. Now, this obviously is a big step up in class, but I don't think it's the toughest renewal of the American Derby. I think he's got a big shot.
Yeah, I'm going to make it very simple. I agree with Green Light. I think he's the best horse with the best trip. I think he's out and gone in the American Derby. Bob and I agree on all 3 of the races that we've discussed thus far. We'll see if that changes in the second part of the Churchill Extravaganza. We're going to take a break. You're listening to the AmWager Weekend Stakes preview on HRRN.
Will you accept the Breeders' Cup Challenge? The chance to compete against the best in the world and race for a piece of $33 million in purses and awards? Win a Breeders' Cup Challenge Series race to get that and more. Earn an automatic starting position in a Breeders' Cup Championship race. Entry fees paid by the Breeders' Cup, a Nominator Award of $10,000, travel awards, and so much more. Here, winning is just the beginning. Learn more at breederscup.com/challenge.
Dear Vet Tix, it was nice to spend the night with my daughter and other veterans. It's so humbling to attend an event when you feel appreciated.
I had a wonderful time with my family. Thank you for the memories, Vet Tix.
Dear Vet Tix, thank you for a great experience and for your support of the military and veterans.
Thank you so much, Vet Tix. Our family has gone through a lot the last few years, and this gave us a nice break.
Every empty seat at a concert, game, or special event is a missed opportunity to say thank you to a veteran or a service member. By giving your extra tickets to VetTix, you'll help America's heroes reduce stress strengthen family bonds, and create a truly happy memory that will last a lifetime. So when you really want to say thank you for your service, give the experience. Give the memory. VetTix. Give something to those who gave. For more information on how you can make a difference, go to vettix.org.
Want to get the latest HRRN content directly on your computer or mobile device? Then subscribe to our podcast using the Podbean app or Apple Podcasts. Just go to hrrn.podbean.com on your computer and click follow, or download the Podbean app and search HRRN. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and listen to our latest episodes anytime. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to our podcasts today. You're listening to the AmWager Weekend Stakes Preview on HRRN.
Top of the stretch in the Stephen Foster, and Florence Rouge shakes up Gunrunner. A 2-length lead. Now it's a 3-length lead. Gunrunner by the 8th pole. Stanford battles on. Breaking Lucky does too with Honorable Duty, and Hawakam down inside. But there's 100 yards left, and Gunrunner with gusto in the Stephen Foster wins for fun. 5 in the end. Honorable Duty was second, Breaking Lucky was third, and Hawakam was fourth.
Travis Stone back in 2017, the Grade 1 Stephen Foster won by Gunrunner, and this year's Stephen Foster is the featured event tomorrow out at Churchill Downs. Welcome back to the AmWager Weekend Stakes Preview here on HRRN. Bobby Newman, Bob Nastanovich, back to Churchill Downs we go. Bob, race 10 is the Kelly's Landing. 3-year-olds and up, sprinting 6.5 furlongs on the main track. Purse here is $250,000. Field of 8 gathering for the Kelly's Landing. Hard to figure out who's going to be favored at post time. Morning line favorite is number 5, Hoist the Gold.
Yeah, I'm going to start with our pal Tejano Twistin here. He's a late closing son of Practical Joke out of a Cuvee mare trained by Chris Hartman. Ridden for the second time in a row by Rafael Bejarano. Bejarano rode him June 1st in the Aristides. The second straight race for Tejano Twist getting off badly, and he got off pretty clearly 3 or 4 lengths last in here after breaking from the rail. I'm sure Chris was pleased with the draw, breaking from the 4 posts instead of the rail, which he hadn't done in a while. Last time was back in November, and he managed to overcome that rail draw to win the bet on Sunshine here. He's got 2 wins at Churchill. He's just an incredibly honest horse, and it really sort of notably in this particular race, this race is over 6.5. And he's done most of his running over 6, 6.5, or 7. At this point in his career, he's in the 34th race. He might need that extra half furlong to really show his best stuff. He tries to make up 6 to 8 lengths from the quarter pole to the wire, sometimes more. And I think the extra half furlong is going to help him out in your Tejano Twist to definitely be on the board and certainly can win. He's got 9 wins in 9 seconds from his 33 starts. Close the Game Sugar was the real eye-opener in that Aristides. He won that race from just off the pace, beat Skelly, ran down Skelly, and was well clear of Tejano Twist, who, like I said, got motoring too late. That was only the second dirt start by Close the Game Sugar. He's a son of Gervinov and a Magna graduate mare, trained by Adam Rice, interestingly, young trainer, the nephew of Linda Rice, a cheaply bought yearling by Gervin. Irad Ortiz rides him. It'll be the 4th time in a row Irad rides this horse. Rode him perfectly in the Aristides. Ought to get a similar trip from the 6 post. If you like him, he'll be shorter than the 18-1 that he won the Aristides with. I just think that Hoist the Gold has a golden opportunity here. First of all, I think it's a big jock switch from the great Johnny V to Luis Saez. I think Hoist the Gold, he needs the lead. Saez, I think, is probably the best in the game. Is for my money getting horses on the front end. Obviously, this is very well documented. This horse hates kickback. Dallas Stewart's 0 for 35 on the meet, 3 seconds and 3/3. I mean, you talk about a guy who'd like to break that duck before the meet ends. I kind of found it interesting. I didn't really know where that expression came from. Break one's duck. It actually comes from cricket, Bob. It's the first. The meaning is to score the first run of an inning in cricket, but I imagine that Dallas Stewart will take a lot of razzing if he doesn't break the duck, and Hoist the Gold presents him with a golden opportunity to do so. This is a class horse. If you rewatch that race in the Metropolitan Handicap on June 8th, I mean, that was a tough bunch. I mean, National Treasure post time. The fact that he held on and finished third in there, I think, was pretty admirable. A mile is pushing it. You know, he was sitting on just off the pace. I think he's going to break on top under Saez and keep on going. I think he's going to get Dallas Stewart off the schneid.
All right, I'm going to go to the inside in the California Invader, number 1, Anarchist, who I think is a real racehorse. This horse was running some really good races last year against horses like Elite Power and the Chosen Vron, and really not far behind those horses. Came back and won the Pat O'Brien, the most recent start. We haven't seen him since last August, but I don't think they'd be shipping to Churchill Downs just for the fun of it, just to get a race into him. So I think Anarchist is probably ready to go for the $250,000 Kelly's Landing. He's run well from a rail draw in the past, and I like that he can either be up close or a few lengths back and put in a good run. Antonio Frezu ships out from California to ride him in the Kelly's Landing. 6-1's a nice price. Anarchist, I think, is going to run a big race in race number 10. 11th race is the Grade $1 million Stephen Foster. Older horses going 1 1/8 on the main track. Really good field of 9 set to go to post, Bob. And the morning line favorite is Brad Cox's First Mission.
Yeah, we've talked about Sherry DeVoe and what excellent form her stable's in, and one of those horses is Pyrenees, the one horse, 12-1 in the morning line. Brian Hernandez rides for Cherie in this one, and this is a 4-year-old Into Mischief colt out of a really good race mare called R. Christie. This horse is going for 5 wins in a row. Won the Pimlico Special over Kings Barnes, who reopposes here. Definitely seems like the right time to step him up into Grade 1 company. He's definitely earned that with his newfound win habit. He's just been on an absolute roll. Trains over at Keeneland. Hasn't run his best races at Churchill so far, but this is a new and better Pyrenees than what we saw in 2022 for sure. Very interested to see what he does. Kings Barnes is a horse that won the Louisiana Derby, was off for a while. Saez rides for Pletcher. He's got a versatile running style. A lot of the horses in here do. A lot of these horses want to stalk and pounce or lead. One of the class horses in that regard would be the 9 Skippy Longstocking. Jose Ortiz rides for Safi Joseph. He's won 2 in a row. We know how good he can be on his day. Dreamlike needs a form reversal for Irad and Todd Pletcher. Pletcher reaches for the blinks for him to see if it will make a difference. Certainly if the race falls apart, that would fall into the hands of Steel Sunshine. He looks like the best closer in the race. That's Paco Lopez riding for Bobby DeBona. But I just can't see past First Mission. I think First Mission, if he runs back to that form that he showed in the Ali Sheba May 3rd Oaks Day, or even slightly better, which I think he's capable of. I just think he's lightly raced. He's 5 for 8. He loves this racetrack, and I just think that he's just too much horse for these, even though it's an outstanding field. I think First Mission's one of the best 3 or 4 older horses in the country today, and he's certainly going to put a stamp on that idea in the Stephen Foster.
Yeah, I think he's the one to beat as well. I don't think he's a cinch in this race, but I do think he's a cinch if you guarantee me that he's going to run his best race. I think his good race is better than anyone in here has run, and if he runs that tomorrow, he's going to win the Stephen Foster. Bob and I both like First Mission. Don't want to take him at that price. I would not bet him at 6-5, but I certainly think he is the logical one to beat in the $1 million Stephen Foster. Final race at Churchill Downs tomorrow, the $250,000 Tepin, 3-year-old fillies going a mile on the turf. Big field of 11 gathering for the Tepin. Number 8, Pipsy, looked good in a sprint in her U.S. debut at Aqueduct last time out in the Soaring Softly. Stretches back out around 2 turns, which breeding-wise should be no problem for her.
Yeah, lest we forget, Tepin is fantastic that she's remembered with a stakes race in her honor. She was just a marvel. She finished her career 13 for 23, including a win at Royal Ascot and a win in the Breeders' Cup Mile. Mark Cassie trained her for Bob Masterson, ran out $4.4 million, and then was sold in 2017 for $8 million at the Fasig-Tipton, Kentucky sale. And a couple of days ago, I saw a 2-year-old out of Tepin run in Ireland for Aidan O'Brien, and it was, I believe, a first lifetime start. Didn't run much, but it was good to see the name anyway. But fantastic horse she was. She really went on a roll where she was just unbeatable for a while there. This race is tough. A really deep bunch. Good fillies. Nobody to me really stands out. I thought it was kind of interesting that Frankie Dettori, after being well beaten at Pimlico on May 17th by She Feels Pretty in the Hilltop, stayed on the Asmussen charge. A daughter of Justify, who breaks from the 11 hole, the outside post in here. I respect Mo Fox-Given, who I think will be a fair price for Joel Rosario and Ron Moquette. She's very honest. She was really good at Keeneland on April 6th when she chased home Buku. We know how good Buku is at Keeneland. But I'm going to stick with my pal Poolside with Slim. She had a breakthrough win in the Penn Oaks. She's been sharp in the morning since. This is Tyler Gaffleone riding for Rusty Arnold. So my selection in the Tepin is going to be the 5, Poolside with Slim.
All right, I'm going to go to the rail, and number 1, Simply in Front for Eddie Keneally and Luis Saez. Liked what I saw from her last time out. Second start off a layoff, and with a trouble-free trip in an A other than allowance race on this course at Churchill Downs, where she stalked the pace and made a powerful move around the turn and through the stretch to win impressively by 2 lengths. I know she's facing tougher tomorrow in the Tepin, but I don't see any reason that she can't continue to improve in just the 7th start of her career. 3rd start off a layoff, and it looks like she has found her home on the turf. They tried her on synth, tried her on turf. To me, she looks like she's significantly better on the turf, and a repeat of her last race, I think, makes her one of the ones to beat. She is 4-1 on the morning line, Simply in Front for me in the Tepin, race 12 at Churchill. All right, we are going to take another break. When we come back, we are going to head north of the border. They've got 5 graded stakes tomorrow at Woodbine. It's Canada Day. Well, this is the AmWager Weekend Stakes preview on HRRN.
The 2024 Spring Meet at Churchill Downs is off and running with live racing Wednesday through Sunday now through June 30th. With massive purses powered by the Kentucky Thoroughbred Development Fund and even bigger betting pools, Pick 5 wagers have an industry-friendly 15% takeout. Churchill also features Twilight Racing every Thursday in the Grade 1 $1 million Stephen Foster on Saturday, June 29th. A Breeders' Cup win and you're in for the Classic Division. You will not want to miss the Spring Meet at Churchill Downs. Visit churchilldowns.com for more information.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Hi, this is Kurt Becker. Join me each week on the Equine Forum as I take you on a stroll through racing history presented by Keeneland. This week, I look back at the racing career of fencing. Listen live on the Equine Forum every Saturday morning on Sirius 162 or XM 207, or visit our website at horseracingradio.net to access the archives and enjoy past editions. It's a stroll through racing history with me, Kurt Becker, presented by Keeneland, only here on HRRN.
You're listening to the AmWager Weekend Stakes Preview on HRRN.
3.5 furlongs left to go, and Future Is Now gets her head in front. And Future Is Now tries to go on fluid situations, come off the inside now. Brother Conway's out of the inside, Extreme outside 4 high. Make 4 almost across the track as they turn in. Charging continues to battle well in between horses. Outlaw Kid is next. Witty's rolling on the far outside. Whitty to the center of the track, closing with a big kick. Now here comes Whitty, but on the inside, charging, resting a narrow lead. Whitty out in the middle of the track now, continues to charge inside. Outlaw Kid, Whitty, Outlaw Kid out of the inside, collaring, charging 3 across the track to the second layer finish. Whitty.
Dave Rodman on the call, the 2024 edition of the King Leatherberry, won by Whitty, who will contest the Grade 2 Highlander tomorrow up at Woodbine, part of the Canada Day extravaganza. Welcome back to the AmWager Weekend Stakes preview here on HRRN. Bobby Newman, Bob Nastanovich. Before we head north of the border, it's time now for the Blood Horse News Update and a look at the top headlines from bloodhorse.com. Belmont at Saratoga, a huge success for spa businesses. While final business numbers have not been reported, Todd Shimkus, president of the Saratoga County Chamber of Commerce, said the local business community enjoyed a banner week as the Belmont Stakes was contested at Saratoga for the first time, in the 4-day June 6th to 9th racing festival created a rare buzz even by the spa's lofty standards. Quote, I've heard from retailers and restaurants that if they stayed open late, they did really well. Friday was big because a lot of people came to town on Thursday and they went out the next night. We had some restaurants say they broke all-time sales records on Friday. If you closed at 9 or 10 p.m., which is normally a popular closing time that time of year, your numbers were not as big, but if you stayed open late, they were. And on Sunday, downtown was busy. Like Travers Week, people went downtown and shopped and ate before leaving town. Shimkus said he is confident the economic impact of the racing festival will top projections of $50 million. That wraps up this afternoon's edition of the Blood Horse News Update. Have the latest racing, breeding, sales, and industry news and analysis, plus entries, results, race replay videos, and more at your fingertips with the Blood Horse Daily app for your phone. Updated throughout the day or delivered daily in an email. Both are free. Blood Horse Daily has the largest subscriber/user base of any thoroughbred industry electronic daily newsletter or app. Go to bloodhorse.com/daily to download the app or sign up. Bob, I don't know about you. It's my just general way of trying to look at both sides of things. I'm sure as great as things were for the retailers and the businesses and the restaurants up at Saratoga, the folks who own businesses in and around Belmont Park are not having the same kind of great attitude with what's been going on. The fact that there's no racing at Belmont Park at all, basically for 2 years, and they don't get to enjoy the success of extra business during Belmont Stakes weekend, but there's nothing they can do about it. It's just one of those things, and we're certainly happy that the folks at Saratoga are enjoying this great success. And I know you and I are really, really looking forward to the quote-unquote regular Saratoga season that's just starting a couple weeks from now.
Yeah, that and Del Mar. I mean, it's high summer racing. I thought really the most remarkable thing about that weekend at Saratoga is we handicapped those cards, and of course the Belmont Stakes. Very interesting renewal of that. Surprised us both, but Dornock had flashed top class form and definitely put together an outstanding race. That the weather somehow, which is always a potential problem in that part of New York State, and the high winds came, but it stayed nice and dry, and they got all those races in. I'm sure that really helped with over 50,000 people in a place that doesn't really comfortably hold that much. I mean, Saratoga, when it's got 20,000 in, seems kind of crowded to me, but they packed them in, and then I'm sure that every eating establishment within 10 minutes of that racetrack, or 15, or maybe even in some cases a half hour to 45, was absolutely packed to the gills. So, yeah, I mean, it turned out to be a wonderful thing, and thankfully the weather was good.
All right, let's get back to the racing at hand, and it's not actually Canada Day tomorrow at Woodbine. Canada Day is always the 1st of July, which this year falls on a Monday, but they are having their Canada Day at the races, if you will, tomorrow at Woodbine. 5 graded stakes in all, the first of which is the Grade 3 Selene, race 6 on the card. 3-year-old filly is going 1 1/16 on the synthetic main track. Field of 7 going into post in this spot, Bob, and number 7, Witwatersrand, is the 6-5 favorite.
Yeah, the prep race or at least the race in the series that led up to this race was the May 18th Rolling Angel. The top two from that race are back in the Selene. The second place finisher, that was a 7-furlong race, so they are going around 2 turns, and it will be the 2-turn debut of the one-horse Sabatini, of course named after the wonderful Argentinian tennis player. In fact, the dam is named Gabrielle to blame. You'd have to think that she might do a little better around 2 turns. She's by Uncle Mo out of a Blame mare. Josie Carroll trains for the outstanding Sofia Vives. Whether they can turn the tables is a big question mark. There's a couple of new shooters in here. The 5 Golden Ghost, who's stoutly bred. She's by Medaglia d'Oro out of a Le Havre mare. It's interesting. To me, she's bred for 1.25 miles. She did break her maiden at Del Mar on the turf in December. I think she might like the synth. This Sahin Savach, we've talked about him. He's 30% on the meet at Woodbine. He can seemingly do no wrong. So that ought to benefit her cause. Mark Cassey trains her as well. I took a long look at Waves of Mischief. Brendan Walsh adds blinkers. This is Qatar Racing. Rafael Hernandez rides for Walsh. Ships in for the first time. 2 efforts on the turf. Excellent win in her debut at 5-2 at Keeneland, April 18th. And then she ran in that hilltop race that Just Better finished second in. She feels pretty won it. And it says she ran by some faders. That was a strange turf course. That was a really rain-softened ground. The fact that in her second lifetime start she fired it all. She was expensive. She was a $575,000 Ocala 2-year-old. She's by Into Mischief out of a quality road mare, so she ought to love the distance. Like I said, Walsh reaches for the blinkers. It'll be interesting to see what she does in her synth debut, but I don't see how you can oppose Whitwater's ran, so therefore I don't really see how you can bet the race. This is a similar situation as Ottoman Fleet, a horse that was even money in the morning line to expect to be more like 1-2. I think Whitwater's ran, who's 6-5 in the morning line in a 7-horse field, might be like 2-5, 1-2, because she just cruised in the Rolling Angel by 4 over Sabatini. And she's got the best form. She won the Mazarine pretty easily as a 2-year-old over this synth course. She broke her maiden over this synth course. The only time she's run badly is on dirt at Gulfstream against R. Harper Rose, in which she didn't really run a jump, and then she didn't fire at all in the Florida Oaks, and that turned out to be a really tough bunch. But she's pretty flawless on synth. She's got the one loss in the Glorious Song lost October 15th, but I think she's trained on. I think she might be a better horse at 3, and I don't see how they beat her. My pick is Cassie Husbands and Gary Barber Whitwater's Rand.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet her either, but I think she's the one to beat in this spot. Everything you said, Whitwater's Rand looks like she's going to be tough to beat in the Selene. Grade 2 Highlander goes as the 7th race at Woodbine tomorrow. Older horses sprinting 6 furlongs on the turf, $200,000 on the line. Field of 9 gathering for this race, and Filo di Ariana is the morning line favorite at 2-1.
Yeah, Whitty, it was nice to hear that replay of Whitty, the 9-horse in here, Elizabeth Merriman. Breeder trainer here for Qatar Racing, are looking forward to a big weekend. He was in great form. He's a 5-year-old gelding by Great Notion. 1-2 in a row, ran a great race behind Grooms All Business, who came back and won a race at Monmouth, May 18th in the turf sprint there. Had a little bit of excuse, was in tight at the start under Gaffleo, and Rafael Hernandez takes over 6-1 in the morning line. Seems like a square price for sure. The course specialist in here is the Mark Cassey trained, Kazushi Kimura ridden Filo di Ariana, a Brazilian bred, an 8-year-old no less, who's run some good races, been lightly raced, only 15 starts. So for the 8-year-old, 7 wins, 3 for 3 on this turf course. But those wins come at 7 furlongs twice in a mile. His last 3 starts, he's turned back to sprints. And, keep in mind, 2 of those races were against the mighty Cogburn, who might be the fastest American turf horse right now that we have. And so he returns to his favorite place. But he's going to, and 6 furlongs might be ideal. 2-1's a little bit short. I'm going to take a crack with the 3 here, Oceanic. Jordan Blair's having an excellent year. He doesn't run too many in Woodbine. In fact, as far as I know, this might be his first ever starter up there. Raylu Gutierrez, who's ridden the horse in 4 of his last 5, goes up to Canada to ride. I don't know if he's ever ridden in Canada, but this 7-year-old son of Constitution's in great form. He's a pure turf sprinter. And, he actually, I'm sorry, I correct myself. Gutierrez rode him at Woodbine last year in the Nearctic, a race that he got beat half a length by Big Invasion. He was 7th that day, and also rode him in the Highlander last year when he got beat by Lucky Score. I think he breaks through today. I think he's the best turf sprinter. I think he's absolutely primed. His morning work has been really good. I'll take the 3 Oceanic.
All right, I went to the first horse you talked about, and that was number 9, Witty. I just like what I've seen from him lately. He's won 4 of his last 6 starts, and one of the losses was in the turf sprint on Pimlico on a Preakness weekend at Pimlico, where he ran second behind Groom's All Business, who came back and won again in his subsequent start. I just think Witty is in great form right now. I like the outside post. 6-1's fair enough for me. I'm going to take Witty in the Grade 2 Highlander. 8th race is the Grade 3 Dominion Day for older horses going 1 1/8 on the synthetic main track. Good field of 9 gathering in this race, Bob. Number 8, Tyson, who has not won in a while, is the 2-1 morning line favorite.
Yeah, we have the King's Plate winner in here from last year, Bob. That's the 6 Paramount Prince, who faced, again, this is pretty much a rematch of the Grade 2 Eclipse on June 1st here. A race won by Palazzi with Tyson in second, and Paramount Prince, who'd only run once this year. It was a win on the Tapeta at Gulfstream, won by 2 lengths under Jose Ortiz. Led briefly in that race and just didn't really finish off the job. Paramount Prince obviously fits. He's a proven commodity. He's never finished off out of the money at Woodbine. I mean, I can't really look past those 3. And the thing that impressed me about that Eclipse race, watching it, is that it took a long time for Tyson to go through the gears. He breaks from the 8-hole. It's Kimura and Josie Carroll. He's a horse that, he loves the course. He always fires on the course. You can expect him to fire. But I got to side with Palazzi. I mean, Palazzi, he swept past that field. He's got the hot jock, Sivac, who's won 3 times on him, a couple of graded wins over this synth course. That was a mile and a 16th last time. I think the extra 16th of the mile does nothing but help him. And I think it's going to be a big day for owner Barber and trainer Cassie. I think Palazzi wins the Dominion Day for the connections.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm so stubborn with this horse Tyson. I liked him against Palazzi last time out, and I don't know why I'm picking him again. It makes no makes no sense at all for me to pick Tyson in this spot. He's always bet, and he's proven that other horses are capable of beating him. I think on his best day, he's clearly better than these others on their best day, but I just don't know if that best day is going to come again for Tyson. I don't know why I'm picking him again. This is the dumbest thing of all time. I'm just stubborn. I'm taking Tyson again. I know he has it in him somewhere to be better than this field, and it's one of those things. I'm afraid if I pick against him that this is the time that he's going to win. I can tell you this, though, Bob. If I play this race, it's not going to be a straight wager. It's going to be in some sort of pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5s, and I will be spreading in this race, probably pressing with Tyson. I have no good reason other than stubbornness to pick Tyson again, but I'm going to do it in the Dominion Day. All right, we'll take our final break. When we come back, 3 more stakes to look at. This is the AmWager Weekend Stakes Preview on HRRN.
A gentle breeze blows across your face as you take a refreshing sip of water, appreciating the stillness of another morning fishing on the lake. The distant gurgle of a stream reminds you of days spent playing in the creek, the cool, clear water rushing between your toes. You love this time with nature, the feeling of putting everything on hold to connect with the world around you. Now, imagine it's all gone. No fish, no lake, no water. One of life's most vital resources, irreplaceably depleted. Time is running out to protect fresh water, and without our love, it can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our freshwater. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
We have the world at our fingertips, inspiration in our touch, and power in our hands. Right here, in our hands. We have the power to save a life. If you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest.
The power is in your hands.
Anthem Foundation is the proud national supporter of the American Heart Association's Hands Only CPR campaign.
HRRN is live online. Go to our website at horseracingradio.net to stream all of our broadcasts live or listen to the show archives anytime. Read our blogs, get the latest news, and see our entire broadcast schedule. It's all there at horseracingradio.net. And follow us on Twitter at HRRN and like our page on Facebook. Search Apple Podcasts for HRRN and download our latest shows. HRRN is home to racing's biggest events, and our home on the web is at horseracingradio.net. You're listening to the AmWager Weekend Stakes Preview on HRRN.
And a quarter of a mile to the finish line. Manila on the outside. Last year's grass champ gets the lead on the turf this afternoon. With Jacinto Vasquez aboard, drawing away now to lead it by 2. Lieutenant Clark, who led from the start, is holding the second spot. Vilsack on the outside is closing, but not fast enough. They're in the final 70 yards, and it's a cakewalk as Manila is eased under the wire. What an easy victory for the odds-on choice with Vasquez aboard, winning it by about 3 or 4 lengths. Vilsack was up for the place spot. Lieutenant Clark and Creme Fraiche the trailer in this inaugural running of the Early Times Turf Classic.
How about that? First ever running of the Early Times Turf Classic, which is now just known as the Turf Classic. That was back in 1987. Of course, Dave Johnson on the call, and Hall of Famer Manila was the winner of the first ever Early Times Turf Classic, and there is a race named in his honor tomorrow out at Aqueduct. Welcome back to the AmWager Weekend Stakes Preview here on HRRN. Bobby Newman, Bob Nastanovich. Folks, AmWager is giving away money. New customers get a $150 sign-up bonus plus an instant $10 bonus for HRRN listeners. Go to link.amwager.com/HRRN. You'll get $10 instantly for signing up, then deposit $150, bet $150, and get a $150 lump sum bonus. It's that easy. AmWager is a wagering platform that's loaded with valuable tools and features, including odds charts, odds predictions, and much more. You'll also get free access to Form to Win. It's a revolutionary app that analyzes past performance data in just minutes. Once again, go to link.amwager.com/HRRN to sign up and get your bonuses. AmWager, built by horse players, for horse players. All right, Bob, we're not quite done with the Woodbine extravaganza yet. Race 9 tomorrow is the Grade 3 Marine for 3-year-olds, going 1 1/16 on the synthetic main track. Field of 7 gathering for this race. Number 1, Cameo Performance, has run on a synthetic track once in his career. It was back in Ireland last November.
Oh, I mean, ran second, beaten a neck by Green Finch, came to this country April 14th, debuted in the United States at Keeneland, $100,000 maiden special weight race on the turf, 1 1/16, and beat Green Light, who we both like at Churchill Downs on tomorrow's card, that turf race. That race at Churchill, June 1st, the Audubon, $275,000 race. They sent him off as the 9-5 favorite. Tyler Gaffalione rode for Brendan Walsh that day. Got beat by Cugino, Lagainos, Camaro Z. A little bit of a troubled trip in there. Some significant factors here. Brendan Walsh trains this horse at Turfway Park on a synthetic surface. He trains very well on the synth. So he ships him back up to Canada thinking that he's just as good or better on synth, and hopefully he'll regain his form for the stable. Took a lot of interest in Essex Serpent in here, the 5, Patrick Husbands, who has a loaded hand for Mark Cassie on Saturday. This is a Son of Honor coat out of a Medaglia d'Oro mare who's run 5.5 furlongs. One is maiden easily, and then chased after an awkward break. Ran in the stakes last time, restricted to Ontario breds, and ran a great race. I mean, he just got off slowly, and I think we see this all the time at Woodbine. We see horses that make big sweeping moves and go from about 10 off of it, and get well beaten, but you still see the turn of foot. When you break slowly by a half mile in 44 seconds, you're really in a tough spot. I think Essex Serpent will definitely like the added ground in the Marine. Native Land is an interesting horse. Ships up from Churchill Downs for Riley Mott. Adam Beschizza, his agent, did a good job. He's got him on some really live mounts at Woodbine over the weekend. This horse drops out of the Peter Pan, which he was beaten 8 lengths by Antiquarian, the Wine Steward, and then Protective. I'm not sure if that was a great race, but Native Land entered in really good form and won at Oaklawn and Keeneland going into that. He'll try Scent for the first time, but to be honest with you, I'm going to stick with Cameo Performance. I know he's 2-1 in the morning line. I think he's a really talented son of Oscar Performance, a stallion I really like a lot, and I think he bounces back to his best and wins the Marine.
All right, I went to number 2, Piper's Factor, just because of his most recent race. I think he looks like he's a much better horse now on the scent as a 3-year-old than he was as a 2-year-old, and he was pretty good as a 2-year-old. I know he beat Softer last time out, beating a other than level competition, but he beat them very impressively, and I think he is ready to step up to this graded stakes level in the Marine. Piper's Factor, for me, second choice on the morning line at 5-2. 10th race is the Grade 2 Nassau. Fillies and mares going a mile on the turf. We've got a field of 10 going to post in this race, Bob, including last year's champ Fev Rover, who not only won this race, but was named the Horse of the Year, I believe, in Canada in the Sovereign Awards. Another story of this race, though, Bob, is it's the only stake mount tomorrow for Emma Jane Wilson, who I think, as of the time we recorded this, she was like $200,000 in career earnings, meaning her horses behind Julie Crone for all-time winningest female jockey as far as earnings. I don't think she had enough on today's card to get over the top. She certainly may have enough tomorrow. Be a long shot if she gets it done in the Nassau, though, because she rides a 20-1 shot in number 4, Devil's Bit, but certainly worth mentioning that Emma Jane Wilson is on that historic doorstep.
Yeah, she's had a marvelous career. In fact, several times she's ventured over to Ascot for the International Jockeys Challenge and acquitted herself very well. In fact, I think she's won it a few times. Just a marvelous talent who has spent most of her career riding in Canada. We haven't seen her very often. A very strong rider, and good for her. Obviously a major milestone when you top any of the accomplishments of the great Julie Crone. This Nassau is tough, Bob. I mean, Implicated's in here is 8-1 in the morning line. Declan Cannon, Brendan Walsh, horse that Walsh got from Chad Brown for this season. Won a Grade 3 last year at Aqueduct, so definitely has some class. Does this Daughter of Connect out of a Tail of the Cap mare. And really did nothing wrong. Won easily at 3-1 on May 12th. It'll be interesting to see what she does as she steps back into stakes company. She definitely fits. I was kind of surprised that Full Count Felicia, who was a star for Brittany Russell last season, has now been turned over to Kevin Attard, and for a while now. So it's a long string of works, not really long, but a handful of works at Woodbine. Gold Square made the decision to send her up to Canada. And Kevin Attard's a very good veteran. Trainer Rafael Hernandez rides. It'll be very interesting to see what she does in her debut up there. But look, let's face it. I mean, Fev Rover is a Grade 1 horse. I mean, Fev Rover ran in the New York last time. Might have been the best filly and mare turf race we've seen in the country this year on June 7th. A race that Didia, much to our frustration, because we didn't put enough money on her. Won the race at a big price. Warlike Goddess finished third in there. I mean, Fev Rover's been facing horses like Inspiral, Moira. I mean, she's a Grade 1 filly, and she loves this turf course. So 5-2 just seems like a gift. I mean, I can't look past Fev Rover. I mean, she's just a wonderful mare. She's 6, and if she's still got it anywhere close to her best, she should handle this group.
Yeah, I have Fever over on top as well. I'm going to use the 5 Millie Girl, too. I like some of her turf races in the past. She's been running on synth mainly, but her turf races are sneaky good, and I think at 10-1 she has at least a little bit of a chance. But mainly Fever over. I agree with you, Bob. She is going to be tough to beat to repeat in the Grade 2 Nassau. Featured event tomorrow at Aqueduct is the aforementioned Manila Grade 3 event. 3-year-olds going a mile on the turf. Field of 6 in this race, and the morning line favorite is number 4, Move to Gold.
Yeah, tip of the cap to Aqueduct for remembering Manila. Only raced once at Aqueduct, finished second in a maiden race. Went on to win 12 of 18, 5 seconds, won the Arlington Million. Of course, the Breeders' Cup, won the Turf Classic. We were on the replay, won the United Nations. Just an absolute sensation in the mid to late 80s. Trained by Leroy Jolly with Angel Cordero being the rider on most occasions. Super excellent horse, and cool to review his career as well. This is tough, kind of interesting. The deterministic, Dylan Davis, Christophe Clement. The Gotham winner tries turf for the first time. Personally, I don't see it. I think Clement is just trying to figure out how to get this horse back to his best. Liam's Map out of a Speightstown mare called Giulio's Jewel. Please Advise is in here. Eric Hansel and George Weaver out of a good turf mare. Horrible trip for this one in the May 31st Penn Mile, a clean trip. Might see him in a better light, but I think this is a wide-open race. I think it's ripe for an upset, and I'm going to take the 2 Drunk on Sake, Yoshida out of a mare called Drunk Philosophy, so kind of a pretty cool name there. Didn't run a jump in the mud at 60-1 on May 16th. Dropped into a maiden claimer on the turf and just absolutely cruised. Sylvester Gonzalez rides for Mert Cantar Macy, and I think Drunk on Sake might pull a big upset in the Manila.
All right, I'm going to go to the 6 Deterministic. I see this one way, Bob, and that is this horse has a 50% chance of winning. If he likes the turf, he's clearly better than this field. I think that his races on dirt are clearly better than this field can handle, and being by Liam's Map out of a Speightstown mare, the breeding is there to say that he should handle the turf. If he doesn't like turf, then it's any one of the 5. But it's, to me, if he likes the turf, Deterministic is clearly better than this field. I'm going to take him in the Grade 3 Manila. That's 12 races. Time now for the AmWager Best Bets.
The AmWager Best Bet.
All right, my friend, lots of options. Where are you headed?
Yeah, I'm going to go to Canada. I'm going to go to the defending champ in the Nassau Fev Rover. I mean, if she runs back to her race in the Beverly D last year or the E.P. Taylor Grade 1 races that she won, then she ought to win this win this race pretty comfortably. 5-2 in the morning line. Anything above even money, I think Fev Rover is fair odds, good odds, and I'll run to the windows. I'll take Fev Rover.
All right, Fev Rover for Bob in the Grade 2 Nassau. It's a filly that we both think is going to repeat. I'm going to go to another race where we both agree, and that's the 9th race tomorrow at Churchill Downs, the American Derby, number 1 Green Light. I said it before. I think this horse has everything in his favor. I not only think he's the best horse in the race, I think he's going to get the best trip in the race as he gets out in front of a field that doesn't look like there's a whole lot of pace, and he doesn't need the lead to win. He's a horse who can be pressing. He's closed from mid-pack and run well, but I think from the rail with Jose Ortiz, he's just going to get out and go and probably won't have to go all that fast to make the lead, and he's going to have too much for them left. Green Light, 3-1 morning line. I would love to get 3-1 on Green Light in the American Derby. Speaking of tomorrow, huge edition of the Equine Forum tomorrow morning. Our good friend Mike Penna talks with trainers Mark Cassie, Safi Joseph Jr., and Randy Morse as they preview their runners in this weekend stakes. Kevin Kirstein handicaps Churchill's Saturday Stakes, and jockey Emma Jane Wilson discusses her pursuit of Julie Krohn's all-time earnings record. Plus, Vance Hansen takes you on a stroll. Well, not really a stroll. He's just going to give you 3 races to watch in this week's triple play. Kurt Becker is the one who's strolling, as he always does, strolling through racing history, presented by Keeneland. Dale Roman's Tim Wilkin tackle the sport's hottest topics on I Ask, They Answer, presented by the University of Louisville Equine Industry Program in the College of Business. Another action-packed edition of the Equine Forum tomorrow morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Sirius 162, XM 207, online channel 999, or right on our website at horseracing.radio.net. That is going to wrap it up on another great edition of the AmWager Weekend Stakes Preview. For our producer, Lee Delapina, my co-host, Bob Nastanovich, I'm Bobby Newman. Have a great weekend at the track, everybody.